So you're from that cold, damp, rainy island we call home, the place that invented the steam engine, the printing press, and revolutionized the world time after time. I mean, for Christ's sake, we even invented gravity. But all that said, when it comes to investing from the UK, it's pretty damn hard. In fact, it's an absolute minefield. You have people throwing out scammy courses, American accents you simply can't understand. It's not easy for us Brits. So in this video, it's my aim to help you get well on your way to your own investing journey. And the best part, it's absolutely free. That's right, I don't have a $2,000 course to sell you. I don't even have a Bitcoin link for you to donate to in the comments. All I ask is that you help a fellow Brit out by tapping that like button and help push this video to a much larger audience. Seriously, just tapping that like button alone will help me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm and maybe even help somebody else just like you starting out on their investing journey. So my fellow Brits and anybody else who stumbled on this video, if you're not from the UK, don't worry, this video will actually apply to a much larger audience. And I know this video might come across in depth and maybe a little scary at times, but don't worry, I'm going to dumb it down as much as possible so that anybody can understand it. And if you still don't get it, just go ahead and rewatch and I promise you it will eventually make sense. So the first thing we need to establish here is why in fact you are actually investing. It's to get rich, right? Well, we actually need a little bit more information than that. You need to establish for yourself what your actually reasoning and goals are. Are you investing to save a deposit on a house, saving for children's education, or maybe even just for retirement? You need to establish how long you're looking to invest for and what your overall target is. If it's just to get rich, then you can't really put a number and work backwards to what you actually need to invest in. But either way, if you stumbled on this video, there's really two paths that all roads lead to when it comes to making money in the stock market or investing in general. And this comes down to the two main paths. One is investing itself, which is where you buy a company or an asset and you hold it for a long time. And the second one is trading. Now, a lot of you have probably stumbled on this video, maybe even got an ad from somebody trying to sell a trading course. For me, I'll be honest with you, stay away from trading because if you found this video, you're probably not experienced enough to even have a chance of being successful. 90% of traders and day traders actually do end up losing money, and in some extreme cases, even end up owing your broker money. Now, day trading and trading stocks in general, you do tend to get, if you're successful, a much quicker rate of return, and it is a more get-rich-quick scheme. But trust me, like I said, if you're watching this video, it's probably not for you, and you should be probably looking more the investing route, especially if you are absolutely new. But trading and day trading itself is basically where you look at a chart and you decide to buy a company or sell a company at a certain price with the hopes and dreams of getting another price where you can make money. It's not really investing into a business and hoping that the business does well in the future. You are simply buying a price and a chart and hoping to sell it in a short period of time to maximize your profits. But honestly, unless you can spend 5 to 10 hours every single day, Monday to Friday, to study and even implement this strategy, you don't have a hope in hell of making it happen. There's not many outliers to this, but if that still is your goal, then this video, you can stop it here and you can move on with your life. But the second way, which is the way that I think every single person on planet Earth who has a surplus income should be doing, is investing into the stock market. Investing is where you buy a company that you believe in and you hold it for months, years, or maybe even a lifetime and pass it on to your kids. Now, there is ways of finding good stocks and also ways of finding bad stocks, and I'm going to cover that in this little mini series we have going on right here. But let's say you take my advice and you go on the investing route. You're going to need a broker. Now, when it comes to finding a broker where you can actually buy investments, you've got two big options. One is find a commission-free broker, which have become very popular of late. Things like 212, eToro, Free Trade, Webull. There's many out there where you download an app and you can invest via your debit card and you're good to go in a couple of minutes. The second one is a paid broker like Interactive Brokers. And you're probably thinking, why would I go with a paid broker when there's another one for free? Well, believe it or not, every company wants to make money, and even eToro and other companies like this actually make money on something called a spread. And I'll cover a spread in a later video because I don't want to confuse you too much. Now, for me, most of my wealth is actually with Interactive Brokers, and I'm happy to pay a fixed fee for every single trade I do. But I do use eToro on a daily basis, and if you're just starting out, I strongly suggest you sign up with eToro using the link below in the description, because if you use that link and follow the steps, you get lifetime access to our Discord, you've got lifetime access to me, and you can go ahead and ask questions there and then in the chat room. But I think eToro overall is actually quite a good broker, and it's a good start out for you to start your own investing journey. So let's say you've gone ahead and you've got a broker. You're ready to make your first purchase in an investment. What do you buy? Do you buy stocks, ETFs, cryptocurrency, Forex, commodities? The list is literally endless on types of assets you can buy. But let's run through them right now. The first one, stocks. You can go ahead and buy a stock, what I like to call buying a business. Now, when you buy this business, let's say Apple, you actually own a small percentage of the company, which entitles you to a certain percentage of the cash flows, revenues, and income from this actual company. So yes, by all definitions in the world, you are a owner of Apple. Now, this does not mean you can walk into Apple on the high street and start firing people. No. But what it does mean is if you have enough shares, you can actually vote on upcoming meetings and decisions the company makes. But most people, when they buy stocks and shares, they sit back and let Apple do the work. But it is worth noting that picking a good stock to invest in is not an easy task, and more on that later. The second type of investment you can do is what every investor on planet Earth, literally 100% of investors, should be doing with the majority of their wealth, and that is buy an ETF. ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund. Now, ETFs are a cheap way for investors to get whole exposure to a certain sector or an industry. So, for example, one of my personal favorites, and it doesn't mean you should go and buy it, is the ticker VOO. If you type this into your investing platform, it should come up with the Vanguard S&P 500. Now, buying one share in this means you're spreading that share out over the 500 biggest companies in the United States. It's a cheap way of getting exposure to the whole market, and if you continuously buy into it over time, as you will see, you can make a lot of money. But let's say you want something more high risk. You can go and buy ARK Invest, ticker symbol ARKK. And what this ETF does is it doesn't buy a bulk of companies. It actually has a manager inside selecting companies it feels will do well over time. The disadvantage here is you're relying on a fund manager to be right. And if you look at history, most fund managers don't even beat the market. So for my advice, again, new investor, pick the S&P 500, start there, and then move up when you're comfortable. But you can also find ETFs for certain sectors. Like you can find ones in Asia, you can find ones that cover tech stocks, you can find ones that follow even gold miners, and even cryptocurrency. It all depends when it comes to ETF investing, what actually floats your boat and what appeals to you. Now, the third asset is commodities. Gold, silver, mercury, literally anything physical. Beef, coffee, corn, you can buy it all. Oil, there's another one. Commodities, you can actually buy and sell on a lot of platforms. Now, what you're buying here is, for example, oil is a good example right now because in the current climate, oil is going way over $100 because of the Russia-Ukraine situation. But if you bought oil contracts when it was $50, you can actually own a barrel or a contract of oil, and then you can sell it at $100, which would mean you've doubled your money. Now, here's a little fact about me is at one point when I was working in a finance brokerage, I actually called myself the Coffee King. Yes, it was a bit of a fun joke, but I was making absolute bank on coffee because there was a big hurricane and some unfortunate events that happened in big regions that grow coffee. Realized there would be supply issues, bought in, and I should have sold when I doubled my money. But guess what? I didn't. I actually ended up becoming the coffee jester because I actually lost money on that investment. But it just goes to show you can actually buy commodities, but they are very risky in terms of what happens that is fully out of your control, like a war in Ukraine or even a hurricane happening across the ocean. Now, there's something called FX, which stands for foreign exchange, which is where you can buy and sell different currencies against each other. So, for example, sticking with the Russia-Ukraine situation, the Russian ruble, the currency there, has took a hell of a beating. Now, if you had US dollars, you could sell your US dollars and buy a lot more Russian rubles than what you could have 3 months ago. And let's say Russia-Ukraine become friends again and the Russian ruble sanctions disappear and the ruble goes up back to its previous levels. You can use that Russian ruble and buy back your dollars, and the difference you would have made, you can keep as profit. The downside here is with FX is they tend to offer you a hell of a lot of leverage at pretty much every broker, and when you get it wrong very badly in terms of how much money you will lose. So again, I feel FX is not really good for a new investor. And that brings us on to future money with cryptocurrency. Long story short, not for me. I'm not going to talk about it in this video. Now look, I'm going to save you a lot of time here, and I'm going to literally change your life if you adopt this simple methodology. Seriously, this is very easy to do, and it can make you a literal millionaire if you just follow these steps. Go and buy an ETF that tracks the S&P 500, and every single month invest a fixed amount for 20 years or however long you can. The longer, the better. No matter what the stock market does, continuously buy in this month, next month, the month after, until you are ready to retire or you can't keep up anymore. And I promise you, your bank account, your future kids, your grandkids will thank you. Now, the S&P 500 historically has averaged about 10% a year. So if you can get this 10%, and in some cases like the VU, you can get more than 10%, you can compound your money very quickly. Now, compounding is where your interest is making you more interest, and as time goes on, that interest makes you even more money, and so on and so forth. And with compound investing, you can make an absolute killing. If you just put in £500 every single month into an S&P 500 ETF that gets you 10% a year, in 20 years time, you would have a staggering 347,000 Great British pounds sat in your investing account ready for you to retire. I know it's not sexy, I know it's not boring, and you can't go down the pub and brag to Derek that you've just bought Tesla with leverage. I get it, it's a boring strategy, but literally every good investor on planet Earth is investing into the overall market on a regular basis. But most of you will ignore me. You want to buy stocks, and I get it. It's sexy, it's fun, it's more sort of bragging rights to your friends down the pub. I get it. You want to buy stocks. That's why you're here. So look, when it comes to buying stocks, there's a hell of a lot to cover to make sure that you don't lose all your money when the stock goes to zero. So to make sure you don't lose on your next investment, check this video out up here. I promise you it will propel you to the next level of your investing journey. It will show you how to buy stocks correctly and what you should be looking for in their financial statements. If you found this video helpful, drop down in the comments which part of the UK you're from. It would greatly help me out with the YouTube gods. That's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.